Hey, today I want to address adult acne. And first off, just give you an idea of how common it is. Because I think many people that are affected by it, that are in their 20s or even 30s, 40s sometimes, and are affected by acne, think that there's something wrong with them, that it's something very unusual, when in reality it is not. So there are a few studies who looked at the prevalence, meaning how common it is. And when we look at this study, for example, we see that in the 20s, still between 40 and 50% of participants reported having acne. And now we see that for especially the older age ranges, the female acne rates were always higher than the male acne rates. This might be because there's actually some biological reason to it, the hormonal fluctuation during the cycle, but it might also be that it is just more often reported from women, because one of the caveats of this study was that it was self-reported. So the participants rated their skin themselves. It wasn't assessed by a healthcare professional. And so one might argue that women are perhaps more sensitive in our society towards those superficial small acne lesions than men are. But nonetheless, we have other studies supporting similar numbers. So here we see the acne prevalence for different ages in developing and developed countries. And the overall trend is that we see in developed countries, the prevalence in all age ranges is higher, which might be due to diet and other factors, which we'll address in another video. But we also see that acne doesn't just stop when you turn 18 or 20 or 21. It's a gradual decline, but there's still plenty of people who suffer from acne in their 20s, even in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s. And so we really need to change our perception of acne being something that only affects people in their puberty. Of course, we're more susceptible to it during puberty, but it doesn't stop when we've become an adult necessarily. That is, of course, on the one hand, pretty terrifying if you're in your puberty now and you really suffer from acne, and suddenly maybe you've been thinking, all right, when I'm 20 it's done, and now you get the perspective that, oh no, maybe it continues. It does, of course, for most people decrease in its severity dramatically in their 20s and 30s. But there are even cases where people have never had acne before and then started developing some in their 20s. Now, this might sometimes be related to polycystic ovarian syndrome in women, which is a condition oftentimes also connected to lifestyle, also worsened by an unhealthy diet, among other factors. And this leads to an increased production of testosterone, and that might then be one of the factors contributing to facilitation of acne. And so when you're in your 20s or 30s and you're still suffering from acne, for the most part, you should choose the same treatments as younger patients should. As always, I think the basis should be a lifestyle intervention. You should improve your diet, meaning get rid of dairy, get rid of refined carbohydrates, massively increase the amounts of vegetables in your diet, choose omega-3 rich oils, choose some supplements possibly, such as long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin D, selenium. We're going to talk about all of that in more detail. I can't get into every supplement and every dietary recommendations right now, but this should be the basis. And then on top, you might want to use topical treatments. They're good over-the-counter treatments such as vitamin C, vitamin B3, green tea extract possibly also tea tree oil, not pure, but in a like 1%, 0.5%, something like that. And then if you have a bad case of acne, don't be afraid to also consult a dermatologist, use pharmaceuticals. I know that or at least I'm getting the impression that sometimes, since we have this idealization of natural treatments in some parts of society, which has some merit to it, and there's some good reason to search for more natural methods, there are also pitfalls in that, and we shouldn't shun pharmaceutical treatments just because they're unnatural. This appeal to nature fallacy that we talk about a lot. So use that angle as well. Also consult a dermatologist and use pharmaceuticals if necessary to avoid long-term consequences such as scarring, psychological consequences, etc. Yeah, I think that's a first overview, and if you have any questions, please post them down below. I'll do my best to answer them all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.